guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to share with you the things that I want to do different with baby number 2 / my second pregnancy. I'm pregnant now, but Lord willing, if we have a second baby, these are the things that I've sort of started listing in my head as things that I would like to do differently than what I'm doing now with my first baby. And obviously, disclaimer, like there were some things that I have on this list that I tried to do with Hugo that just didn't work out, and the best laid plans, right? Or like, what's that saying that, you know, life is what happens when you're busy making plans, or like God laughs at like all your plans, or whatever it is. I understand that, like, I'm sure I will say all of these things, and then eventually when we get pregnant with baby number 2 and then have baby number 2, like none of them will actually happen. First thing that I want to do differently is I don't want to start taking pregnancy tests leading up to the day of my missed period. With Hugo, I started taking pregnancy tests like as soon as possible. I started taking like the little strips, and it was fun to like track the progression and then to like eventually see, I think it was like 9 DPO that I started to see a really faint line. That was so incredibly fun and I was so excited. But I think for this baby, what I would really love to do is have that experience of actually missing my period and like letting that be the reason why I take a test. Now obviously the anxiety and like the excitement of wanting to take a test was, at least for Hugo, the reason why I started taking them so early. So it's gonna be really hard with baby number 2 to not want to start taking tests as soon as possible. But I would really love to have that experience to like actually miss my period. And then something I would like to do different with baby number 2 is I would like to take the pregnancy test and find out with my husband. So with my first baby, I took the pregnancy test by myself, found out by myself, and then surprised my husband and told him. And that was so incredibly special. Actually, when I found out that I was pregnant, he was on a work trip in China. And so it kind of just like worked out that he wasn't here. I'm sure if he was here, I couldn't have waited. I would have probably told him right away. But it just sort of like, it worked out that he was away, and when he came back, I surprised him. But I think for baby number 2, and we've talked about it too, I said like, do you want to take the test with me, or do you want me to surprise you? And he was sort of like, he was like, oh, whatever, like whatever you want. So I think it would be fun to just have that experience together, and like Hugo can be in on it too. So for baby number 2, I would also really love not to find out the gender in the doctor's office, to have them write down the gender of the baby on a piece of paper and put that in an envelope. And then I would love to have a gender reveal party. So for Hugo, I had way too much anxiety about like if it was going to be a boy or a girl. I had to find out like in that moment in the doctor's office, and I had to like process that information by myself with Jeff before telling anyone. And like I didn't want it to be a big thing. I think I just texted my friends and was like, it's a boy. I was just so incredibly nervous. I think obviously because it was my first, but because I don't know, I put so much weight on whether a baby was going to be a boy or a girl and what that was going to mean for our experience and our bonding experience. And I didn't know that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. A boy or a girl, like, it's the most amazing like little miracle in your life. And now I feel like so much less anxious about whether it's a boy or a girl. Like I don't even care. I'm just so excited to give Hugo a little sibling one day. And so I think what I would love to do now that I like don't feel so much anxiety about it is to have a gender reveal party and to like enjoy that moment and to find out if it's a boy or a girl with Jeff and my family, and to do something fun like a balloon pop, or you know, when you bite into cake and the icing is blue or pink. I just think that that is so adorable. This one's a little controversial. I've mentioned it before. I'm not gonna go into like the whole story now. And again, this is something that could totally change. But for now, I would like to have a C-section with baby number 2. I had a natural vaginal birth with Hugo. And if you're not new to my channel, you know the story. You know the story. And again, I'm not going to go into like the entire thing now because we'd be here forever. But I had a 4th degree tear, episiotomy, and a rectal tear. It took me about 4 months to fully recover from the birth. It was just so traumatic and so horrible, and there is nothing about it that I think back and think like, oh, I would love to do that again. I definitely think, for me at least, a C-section might be the better route. That's not saying that I think it's the easier route or that I think it's going to be a more enjoyable experience, because I think they're both equally as difficult and equally as hard. I just feel like with the type of birthing experience that I had, this might be the, I don't want to call it the lesser of two evils, because that sounds terrible, because as long as baby is healthy, like that's all that matters. I'm pretty sure like we're going to be going the C-section route. And when / if I become pregnant with baby number 2, that is obviously something like we'll talk about more with my doctor, and something I'll talk to you guys a little bit more about when that decision like becomes necessary. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what we're gonna do with baby number 2. Next thing that I want to do with baby number 2 is not feel as bad about supplementing with formula if I need, or supplementing sooner if I need. So I breastfed Hugo and I didn't enjoy it. I didn't like it. It was just not something that I enjoyed, and the guilt of breastfeeding him, feeling guilty about like making sure that, you know, he got like the best this or the best that, like kept me doing something that wasn't the best for my mental and physical health, emotional health and well-being. Eventually we started supplementing, and I think with baby number 2, if I find myself in a very similar position, I'm just not going to feel guilty. I'm not going to feel guilty. I'm going to do what's best for baby and I, and put our needs in front of like the judgment and the opinions of others. The last thing is something you guys can laugh at me about in the future, because I'm sure it won't happen, but ideally I would love to use a crib or have baby sleep in a crib, baby number 2. Yeah, Hugo has been sleeping in our bed since day 1. We tried the bassinet. I should also include like maybe have baby number 2 sleep in a bassinet would be like ideal. We wanted baby to sleep in a bassinet. We wanted Hugo to sleep in the crib, and it just never happened. He did not, and that's what I say, like really, like at the end of the day, I mean, we could have just left Hugo to like cry in the bassinet, and maybe eventually he would have gotten used to it, but like he did not like it. And when we tried the crib, we've tried it numerous times. We still have it set up. He hated it. He hated it. He hates it now. Like, he just loves sleeping in our bed with us. And now, Hugo's almost 9 months old, I love having him in our bed. I love it. I love it. I love it. But I don't know how much I would love having him and another baby in our bed. And I think that's when it might just start feeling a little crowded, a little too busy. And I've loved our experience with Hugo, but if I could choose, I think I would say maybe like have baby number 2 in the crib if baby wanted to be, because it would just, I don't know, make a little bit less anxiety for me. I know my husband would like prefer that too. But it's funny because again, like I love having Hugo in the bed with me, and it's something that like now is like one of my favorite times of day. I like love snuggling with him at night, love snuggling with him in the morning. I just like love how comfortable he is. And so it's funny to say like that for baby number 2, I would want them in the crib. And at the end of the day, like this is definitely one that like is a little bit more probably up to baby than up to us. If baby hates the bassinet and hates the crib, then I'm not gonna force it. But in an ideal world. Hey guys, so those are all the things that I want to do different with baby number 2. Hope you enjoyed this list. Again, take it all with a grain of salt, because who knows. Remember to subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, and I will talk to you all again really soon. Bye guys.